I'm going to be very, 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 very,
Is that
very
on?
brief, and I have no slides to fool around with, so I'm going to be super brief.
I can relax.
So, Perry, thank you for the shout out. I'm Mary Bemis, and I just launched this. It's actually a consumer site for spas, and my mission is to keep spa culture alive and to really, promote, help people understand primarily what spa culture is in this country, which is a mixed bag of things that I can get into a little later, tomorrow, whenever. But I founded 2 spa magazines along the way, and I was at the forefront of the contemporary American spa movement. I started writing about spas in the 80s. I founded a trade magazine called American Spa in 1997, when spas were really, mid-90s, when we saw a real boom in this country. And then went on to launch and co-found Organic Spa magazine in 2006, which I gave to my co-founder in 2011. Because I wanted to embrace a bigger part of the spa community. I met Mikkel in January through Cynthia Yosaima, I always pronounce your name wrong, the Balneology Association lady. I'm on her advisory board. And Mikkel and I had a great conversation really about spas in the community and what they stand for and what they are. And I'm not really going to talk to that. Right now, because it's a long conversation. First, I just wanted to segue off of what Jeanette was saying about the Native American. There's been a lot of conversation, obviously, today about that. And from my perspective, I've spent many years speaking with tribal members and going to, guess where? Their spas, because the Native Americans own very large casino spas in this country. And my desire is to research and uncover some of their traditions. And I have had the same experience on the other side as you have had, where I am welcomed in most often than not. People will talk to me and tell me about their traditions, but boy, do you think you're going to find anything to do with that in one of their spas? Oh no, you're not. That's important. That's really important. And what they will talk about is the indigenous treatments. I was very happy, indigenous ingredients. I was happy to see you had the sage and the tobacco and the thing. This is good and this is bad, because what's bad a lot with the industry is that, Perry, you said, what about the American, what's the American thing? There isn't one yet. There isn't one. We're still in the middle of creating it. What Americans did very well, we don't have a culture, a spa culture. We did in the old days of Washington taking the waters and at the home, Virginia. We had a great, we were founded on hot springs, thank God. But as far as a tradition and a culture, we don't have that. What Americans did is we created a business. That's what we did. We took something really sacred in my book, because I love spas. I can talk about spas forever and ever. I think they're very important to one's humanity and how one lives and their lifestyle. But we don't have a culture in this country, Perry. We don't. And we have a business. We made it a business. The contemporary spa movement in this country started when Deborah Zake, who is the grandma of the spa revolution, opened Rancho La Puerta in 1940. That's when it really started. The contemporary spa movement started. She started in Tecate, right outside of Tecate. Another big spa pioneer was Mel Zuckerman. He started Canyon Ranch in 1979. Another big spa pioneer, Sheila Clough, who started the Oaks at Ojai. What do these spas, and these are called destination spas, they promote the spa lifestyle. What do these spas have in common? Make money. Besides that, they do not have access to water. They were founded in places without water. That's amazing to me. What is spa all about? Spa's about the elements. It's about fire, earth, air, water. Okay, they had a lot of sunshine and whatnot, but they did not have water. Very basic. So that is fascinating, in my humble opinion. If you start to connect the dots, which I love to do in my own spa mind, it's interesting. Most people don't know the meaning of spas. So let me just finish Dr. Burgle, who introduced me to hydrotherapy massage. I don't know when, in the 90s. I had this gentleman, I don't know when, but happy to see him here. So, let me see, where was I? I was on a timeline kind of thing.
Talking about the business.
Okay, so let me tell you, thank you.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to just give you a little glimpse into the American spa movement today. It's a $14 billion industry. It has 20,000 locations. Last year, 160 million people visited spas. They mostly had massage, because that is still the big spa thing. Facials and massage. If you dig a little deeper, which I like to do, I think all of us here do, what percentage of spas, and this brings me back to the water, what percentage of spas of those 20,000 locations offer hydrotherapy? Does anybody want to take a guess? Who said it? 20%. 20%. Which is a percentage that this gentleman, the president of the International Sauna Association, you said 80% of saunas in the U.S. are terrible and 20% are worse. It all goes together. I mean, it really does. It is all tied together. And the fact is, and I love spas, and I promote them, and I love them, but the issue is here that I think everybody needs to understand is when you say sauna in the spa environment, sauna is an amenity. Sauna is an amenity. This is not, and I've been to your spa in Vancouver, and you will speak tomorrow, and it's beautiful, hammam experience. Sauna is an amenity, and we all have to understand that. And what I've been trying to do for 25 years is promote spas and the spa lifestyle. You know, I founded a group in DC called the Washington Spa Alliance, and we have what we call the 7 timeless truths of spa. And it's just what you're talking about. It's a lifestyle. Those truths are food, water, community, nature, fitness, I'm going to forget one, quiet, and there's one more that I'm not remembering. This is what life is all about. We have to be in touch with all of these. It's spirit, and I'm forgetting, and I don't know why, but it's the end of the day, and I'm tired. I went last. But this to me is when I say spa, it's a spa life. This is to me. I've been doing this for 25 years. How did I get into it? Very, very, very quickly. My mother had polio. Simple. She had polio. Her mother was from Armenia. She came during the Turkish-Armenian massacres. When my mother went to the hospital at 21 months old, my grandmother came in every day and massaged her legs with warm olive oil. So she had a warm olive oil massage on her bum leg, which she called her bum leg, from the time she was 21 months old to the time she was 7 or 8 years old. She had swimming lessons, she went to the sea, she did all these things. She lived a spa lifestyle. I mean, grandmother brought her fresh fruit, fresh oranges in the hospital. So I was raised with that sensibility. And I carried it with me, and I carry it with me through my various, what I've done for the past 25 years. That's my personal, that's where I come from. So, yes. I don't have a punchline.
Your mother was the only person?
I did. So she was the only, thank you. So it's not a punchline. But she was the only child to walk out of her ward without a brace on her leg.
Okay.
She was the only child. Thank you. Yeah. So that's powerful stuff. Yeah. That's the power of touch, the power of water, the power of nature, the power of fresh air, of food, of all of that. Okay, so I gave you some of the basic stats, a little glimpse into the whole thing. Why,
Well, a question.
I'm gonna.
So you're collecting wisdom on spa,
Mm-hmm.
and obviously she knows a ton. What do you say to this evolving sauna movement?
Well, that's what I wanted. I wanted to say.
Bring your wisdom to us.
Well,
Do they have
I
to
didn't.
sell it? Do they have to sell
No, this
out?
is what I. This is kind of, but not really. So, not really. I think that.
But you made a point that the spas did business really well.
They did business very well, especially.
Business is not a bad word.
No, this doesn't work right
Yeah, what happened here?
I'm on.
Am I off?
I don't, okay, thank you.
Okay,
So what was your question, Mikhail? I'm
I don't
sorry.
remember. No, no, it's about the business. You know, you said that spa succeeded because it was a business, it became a business.
What the spas did really well, they forgot that they were really about healing. They became very, in the
Right.
late 90s, you know this, 2000s, up until, 2008, 2009, they borrowed, I won't say steal, they borrowed from other people's cultures. There was a little bit of Mexico, a little bit of Italy, a little bit of Germany, a little bit of this, a little bit of that, and they created, treatments, crazy treatments. It became crazy. There was a Texas barbecue wrap. There you could go to Hershey's, Pennsylvania, and get dipped in chocolate. I mean, this is what happened, and this is what gave the spa industry a bad rap. We went from a business of healing, to a business of selling. At what were, the Deborah Zakes, the Mel Zuckermans, the pioneers of the spa world, all of a sudden, big money came in the forms of hotels, and hotel spas became very popular. And you had operators operating spas. You did not have people who felt passionately about this or who really even knew anything about it. You had operators, excuse me? We're not mentioning any names here.
Mary, can I ask one
Yes.
prior question?
Yes.
Because I've heard spa used in many different contexts. It sounds like you're using it as a therapeutic term.
I'm using it when I say lifestyle. Spa is a place, a property is where you go to better yourself. Phil earlier had that gorgeous T.S. Eliot quote that resonated so much with me. I don't know if he's still here. About connecting to your, spas to me, they connect people to their bodies. Very basic. And it's through sweat they connect people to their bodies. But the spa, if you take spa, there are many different kinds. There are destination, there are hotel spas, there are resorts, there are cruise ship spas, there are pet spas, there are car spas, there are, teenager spas, there are spas. There are lots of spas.
What is the etymology of the word spa?
Saunas per aqua, health through water. It came from a little town in Belgium. In what year, Reinhard? How many centuries and centuries ago? It came from a little town that translates to health through water. Spa, Belgium.
That was it. It was called spa?
Yes, exactly.
Spa?
Yeah. So I just think, just a few things. The Eliot quote. Also, Phil, the transformative experience, it's all about that. A spa is supposed to, a good spa will transform you. You will have a transformative experience at a good spa. And the Eliot quote was beautiful. You said travel is the largest industry. Absolutely. And this is this is coming back to how to promote this and what everybody's doing here, which is amazing. Travel is the largest. Guess what is really, really booming right now? Wellness tourism. Wellness tourism is so hot, it's not funny. And that goes into medical spa, where you can go to another country and get things done that they wouldn't do to you here. I mean, there are all kinds of things around that. But, then the hot springs, which are near and dear to me, hot springs it's about to boom. I mean, many of you may be aware of all of the developments that are going on right now. There's a major spa in Yellowstone, hot spring spa. I mean, it's really booming, and supposedly, I don't believe the numbers, but supposedly the global hot spring market is around 60 billion. I have a hard time believing that. But which question? I'm sorry. Okay, so the advice, really is the spas need help. I mean, they need to know what everybody here is doing. I mean, they need to educate their people, which is hard because there's a lack of spas. They boomed, and with that boom, there weren't enough people to fill the spots. And we don't have, in the 90s, people were building hydrotherapy. They were having to take out the tubs and the Vichy showers because nobody knew how to run them. And when they broke, God help it. I mean, what do you do with a big old $30,000 tub in your room? Who knows? And those rooms are turned into massage rooms. So what do? I think you form like the sauna soldiers or the sauna task force or something like this, an association. I don't know about, somebody else earlier said, let's start an association, but you're all from various places that are so wonderful, and there's so much knowledge in this room. It should be somehow really pulled together very tightly,
Harness it,
and,
yeah.
and you need some kind of a campaign. You need a sauna campaign.
Or yeah,
You need a
sweat-
sauna
sweat
campaign. Yeah, sweat. I'm sorry, yes.
Per- Well, that's obviously that's a big part of it. Yeah, but we do. Is there my?
If I know, I mean, I definitely take the understanding of say spas with fascinotherapy and the benefits of water. But if you just look at, if you're talking about a movement building or something like that related to this, that there's kind of like an artisan type sort of attitude to say yoga, that when it's been commercialized and when it's actually been scaled up, it doesn't actually really work very well.
Right.
But if you actually, but in terms of the authenticity of actually being anti-scale, that actually yoga does that fairly well. So that might be an idea in terms of how culturally you'd actually reappropriate saunas.
There has to be a movement of some kind. And in this country, spa and tourism, for instance, have never worked together. Two big giants you think would have, but never did. It's just not taken as seriously.
Go ahead.
I think from my experience is that the architecture of saunas, the technology of saunas in the United States has never advanced. It was very segmented.
That's correct.
They were
In the
stinky, smelly,
people don't go into them in most
corners
spas. They're
in
not
an athletic
used.
club.
They're bad.
Even now, if you go to LA fitness or large clubs, they're totally
Or
uninviting.
hotels, yeah.
A hot spring village town north of San Francisco in Napa Valley called Calistoga, which has many hot spring
Beautiful.
hotel, does not have a single attractive sauna.
And that is where you will find
Period.
the real
Nobody will
core
go
of
there.
American spa culture.
Nobody
The
will-
muds.
For Americans, a sauna is to dry their underwear.
Yeah.
Or other
Or
things.
towels, or bathing suits, yeah.
I have a real quick question or comment.
Yeah, pass the mic back, please.
The aesthetics, when you
I-
saw these.
I grew up in Montana, and I worked in Yellowstone Park, and so I have a real strong connection to hot springs. And what I've found is that the word spa is a good thing, just like the word yoga is a good thing. And there's been a lot of misguided things because we're Americans and we're brash and we're irreverent.
Exactly,
And,
yes.
but I still see it as a positive, and I see it as an opportunity that as we evolve and as we bring our different cultures and this melds into something new, something will morph out of it. And so I guess, and maybe I'm just new to the industry, I'm old to the practice, but I'm new to the industry, and I see it as a real opportunity, and I just wanted to express that, I guess.
I think that's great. I think I do see the consumer interest going back to the basics, water,
Yeah.
steam. They have to. I mean, it's a circle. I just hope that it can be translated, the people behind the movements and the properties can really lead in the right direction. But the problem is that nobody knows. There's no core, there's no background, there's no culture, there's no patience for learning everything,
Yeah. So,
It's an issue.
Mary, wait, no, okay, hold on, everybody, because this conversation, now it's really getting good. But there's also a hot banya waiting for us. But I want to say something. Wait, tomorrow, this is going to continue. But the thing that I think there's something out there in the wings, and I'm really looking forward to some of the conversations that are going to happen tomorrow, where we're going to take this conversation of what to do and elevate it to a national level and look at it in terms of just how, the healthcare industry, how we can
Exactly,
fit.
yeah.
So a doctor sits there and can make a prescription for an antibiotic, and then they can make a prescription for Archimedes banya, and that's just part of the our lifestyle, and that's something that is, I think. We can have that discussion now because there's a
It's
climate
time.
for
No,
it.
it is. The
And I think
climate
we're going to
is-
talk, that's tomorrow, and we're going to have a lot of conversation specifically around how to elevate this whole conversation into an area where it can be on a national scale and scalable up.
Will Medicare cover my argument?
And that's the idea. Yes. but you'll be dead by that time.
Excuse me,
Now, okay, wait. Now this is Mary. You got me excited. You got everybody excited. Thank you so much. I hate to cut it off. But we're
Thank
gonna have to
you
cut
for
it off.
having me.
That was great. We really had great energy. Wow. You know, we need you on the sweat side here.
excuse me, Mikkel, you're cutting me off.
I'm cutting who off?
I have a question.
Oh, I'm so sorry over there, Doctor.
The most touching picture up here was the one of those 4 or 5 old guys, all fat, sitting around in there laughing and talking together, tightly packed in a Finnish sauna, I believe. I think that when we start talking about spa, we should be really talking about, it's really a different thing than what we're talking about. We're not talking about spa. We're talking about banya. We're talking about hammam.
Yeah.
We're talking the whole spa ethos with its complexity of yoga and exercise and
It's-
eating and that kind of thing
yeah.
is a good thing. I'm not saying it's not a good thing, but it's a little bit off of the subject of community. Because
That's
community-
correct. And that is what Mikkel and I were originally talking about. And what we were originally talking about was how spas have taken something like hammams, bathing together, doing all this together, and they've made it very solitary
trivialized
and very lonely and
They
very
trivialized it,
sterile
too.
and very this. But that is, we're going away from that in the spa movement, we're going away from that. What's happening now, what you're describing, is something else. So in my world, there's a big issue with, should we get rid of the word spa altogether? It's just not working. Let's replace it with, wellness. It's ridiculous.
Marketing.
It's ridiculous. So I hear what you're saying. That was, to me, the image that you reference is what it's all about. And this is how the two of us connected over the telephone in January. It's about community. It's about healing traditions and living the best life you can through these wonderful practices that are centuries old and that bring people together. They not only make each person feel better, they bring people together. They make communities better. They make the world better. I mean, you know, whatever.
Who's?
I don't know. I don't know.
I guess we're not disagreeing.
Okay, thank you.